You and we use our computers every single day, clicking away without giving it a second thought. But what is actually going on inside that machine when you double-click an icon? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and take a peek into your computer's hidden inner world.
I mean, really, have you ever stopped to think about it? That one simple click, it kicks off this incredible, fascinating chain of events. And we are going to follow that chain from the very beginning to the very end and see exactly what's happening under the hood.
All right, so our journey starts with something we all know, the application icon. That little picture on your desktop is way more than just a shortcut, you know? It's the front door to this complex process that literally brings your software to life. See, here's the thing. An application just sitting there on your hard drive isn't really alive. It's basically a dormant file, just a big list of instructions. The best way to think about it is like a blueprint for a house, just sitting there rolled up, waiting for a construction crew to show up and actually start building. So how does your computer even know which files are these blueprints? Well, if you're on Windows, it's all about that classic.exe at the end of the file name. But on a Mac or a Linux machine, it's a little different. It's not about the name at all. Instead, the file has a special permission, kind of like a VIP pass, that flags it as being ready to run. So to put a finer point on it, the executable file is the absolute heart of any application. It is the instruction manual that your computer's processor reads to make the software do its thing. Without that file, all you've got is just a bunch of data, not a program. Okay, so we've clicked on the blueprint, now what? How does this static file turn into a dynamic, running program that you can actually use? Let's dive in. And this is where we meet something called the process. A process is the application in action. So if the executable file was the blueprint, the process is the finished house, right? The lights are on, people are moving around inside. It's the application fully brought to life. Now, the birth of a process happens in a flash, but it's really a simple three-step dance. First, you click. That's your part. Second, the operating system grabs that blueprint, the executable file, and loads all its instructions into RAM. That's your computer's super fast short-term memory. And finally, boom! A new process is born and it starts running. And now that our process is alive and kicking, it gets busy. It starts consuming system resources. It needs time from the main brain, the CPU. It carves out a workspace for itself in memory, and it asks for access to your files on the disk. It's now an active player in your computer's little ecosystem. But here's a little twist for you. Does one application always equal just one process? Nope. Not at all. In fact, some of the most complex apps create a whole bunch of processes to handle different jobs. And the perfect example is probably the web browser you're using right now. Have you ever had a single tab on your browser crash, but the rest of the window was totally fine? Well, this is why. By running each tab as its own separate process, the browser keeps them isolated from each other. If one goes down, it doesn't take the whole ship with it. It's a really clever trick for boosting performance and stability. Okay. So we've covered the processes that you start, but beyond that, there is a whole hidden world of activity going on in the background. So let's meet the unseen helpers that keep your system running like a well-oiled machine. These helpers are called services. They're these special background processes that your operating system starts up all by itself. Think of them like the stage crew at a play. They're working silently behind the scenes, making sure all the lights and sound cues happen right on time so the show can go on. They're kept separate so that if one of your apps crashes, it can't bring down the entire system. So what exactly are they doing back there? Oh, just all the really critical stuff. They're managing your Wi-Fi connection, handling how programs read and write to your hard drive, keeping an eye on your system memory. They are the tireless, invisible road crew of your digital world. So what's the key difference here? It's pretty simple when you break it down. As you can see, you are the one who starts processes, and you interact with them directly. Services, on the other hand, are started by the operating system, and they just do their thing in the background. Put it this way, processes run your apps, services run your computer. All right, now that you know about this whole hidden world, it's time to learn how to take control. You actually have the power to see and manage every single process and service running on your machine. Let me show you how. Your computer isn't some sealed-off black box. Both Windows and macOS give you these incredibly powerful tools that let you peek under the hood and see everything that's running. You're not just a passenger here. You can absolutely be the pilot. So let's meet the tools of the trade. If you're a Windows user, your command center is the good old Task Manager. And for all you macOS folks, it's called the Activity Monitor. Both of these are your window into the real-time operations of your computer. And when you open one of them up, you'll see something that looks a lot like this. You get a list of every single process, like Chrome.exe right there, and you can see exactly how much CPU power and memory it's eating up. You'll even spot those services we talked about, like svhost.exe, which you now know is one of your system's little helpers.
So why does any of this matter? Because, my friend, knowledge is power. The next time your computer feels sluggish, don't just sigh and reboot. Open up Task Manager or Activity Monitor and find the culprit. You can shut down misbehaving apps and finally understand exactly what your computer is so busy doing. So the next time you sit down at your computer, just remember this hidden world buzzing away beneath your fingertips. There are dozens, maybe even hundreds, of processes and services running right this second. So go on, open up your system monitor and take a look. What story is your computer trying to tell you?